We'll start with the prayers. Vasudeva sutam devam kamsa chaluramardhanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagadgurum. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, is titled Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga, the threefold faith. Faith in the Guru, faith in the scriptures, faith in Bhagavan. Unless as a seeker we have these three faith, we cannot progress in spiritual life. So this chapter brings out the essence of Shraddha, which is one of the qualities prescribed for a seeker in Tattva Bodha. We want to reach the highest what a human being can achieve in this life. For that, we must have the faith that there is something, a goal to be achieved. There is something which I do not know today, but I believe strongly that it exists. For that, you need faith. There is a higher nature of mind, which I do not know today how to reach it. That nature is called as awareness, consciousness. I'm only aware today of this body and this mind and the world. But the Bhagavad Gita enables me to discover there is another principle in this entire universe, which is called as Chaitanya, which is called as Bhagavan, consciousness, awareness, the truth. For that, to know that truth, I need faith. Without faith, nothing is possible in this world. Even when you sit in a plane, you should have faith on the pilot so that he can take you to your destination. When you sit in a bus or a train, you have faith in the driver of the train or a bus. When you sit in a taxi, you have a faith in the driver to drop you to your destination. So similarly, Bhagavan is the faith we should have to take us to our destination, which is moksha. Freedom from samsara, freedom from dukkham, freedom from tossing up and down as per what my mind is dictating every day. That freedom is possible, and we go with full faith to discover this truth. The spiritual journey, Swami Chinmayananda used to say, is a transformation from animal man to man to divine man. And this chapter clearly tells us how to go from animal man to man. And the only way to do that is to reduce our egocentric life. How do I do that is explained in this chapter. How to drop this ego, reduce this ego, so that the truth can illumine my intellect. And Lord Krishna teaches this in very different way. He talked about sattvika, rajasika, tamasa, ahara. Then he takes into analysis yajna, dana, tapas. All these are activities which we do in our day-to-day life. But how do we do it? With what attitude we do it makes all the difference if you are in a spiritual path to know your real nature. We have finished up to 16 verses. In the last verse, the 16th verse, we talked about mental austerity, yajna based on the instrument, which means our body and mind. And this was taught to us with the help of 5 factors. And what are those 5 factors? Manah prasada, saumyatvam, maunam, atma vinigraha, bhava samshuddhi. These are the 5 points which we have studied in the last verse. All these 5 points teach us about how we should have austerity with reference to our mind. Withdrawal. Austerity means control. So the first one is mana prasada. Mana prasada means purity of mind. Saumyatvam means reflectiveness. It has a capacity to reflect on the higher truth. Maunam means reflectiveness. Saumyatvam means inner cheer. I'm always pleasant. I don't have too many fluctuations in my mind. Atma vinigraha means control of the mind, senses, pranas, organs of actions. Any vinigraha means withdrawal. And bhava samshuddhi means purity of intentions in the mind. Do I have evil intentions or good intentions? So these are the 5 factors by which we can keep our mind in balance all the time. Very, very beautiful verse of this chapter. And this particular verse and the other verse which we talked about, how to speak. These are 2 important verses, I would say, in this entire chapter. And you can by heart them, or you can keep this as one of the important verses to revise again and again. Now we will see how we should progress further in the topic of same tapas with reference to the gunas. That is what we will do in this next verse, which is 17. Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat trividham narahi apala kankshibhir yakyaihi apala kankshibhir yakyaihi satvikam parichakshate. We do penance to end our sins. All papam which we commit, we want to correct them by doing penance. Now, what are the 3 types of penance which we undertake? It depends on what is sattvika tapas, rajasika tapas, and tamasa tapas. So 17th talks about sattvika tapas, 18th will talk about rajasika, and the 19th will talk about the tamasika. Now, sattvika tapas, shraddhaya paraya taptam, trividham. So when you perform tapas with shraddha, it is said to be of 3 types. The first one is aphala kangshibi. Aphala kangshibi means I don't expect any fruit of action, fruit for the actions. I do my duty and I take that as the final fruit. Doing duty itself gives me peace of mind. And I do the duty because that is how it should be. I am alert, vigilant in my sadhana. And this is guided by the Shastra. So in this verse, what is taught is doing duty without any desire for the fruit of action. So I keep doing duty for my children, for my parents, for the society, and whatever austerity measures I have to undertake, that is called as sattvik. Sattvik is always the best form in all the three forms, sattvik, rajasik, and tamasik. So whenever the Lord teaches us the sattvik part, we should be more careful. We should pay more attention to it. What is rajasik tapas? Satkaramana pujartham tapodambena chevayat kriyate tadahi proktam rajasam chalamudhruvam. Rajasik tapas means I expect results. I expect some form of gaining something when I do an action with expectations from others. Satkara, mana, puja. These are the three things which they have said. Satkara means people receive me well. I do something because people appreciate me. They honor me. They worship me. Now, this is with ego. And any action done with the ego is supposed to be rajasik. So throughout the 17th chapter and the 18th chapter, whenever we analyze sattva, rajas, and tamas, we should remember that rajas means ego, selfish, egoistic nature. And always remember, an egocentric life is unstable and it is transitory. Why? Because it is depending on the I thought in the mind, and all actions which follow are based on the I thought. In higher texts, when we go after the study of the Upanishads, like Panchadasi, we get into the analysis of the human mind, how it acts. So these type of verses in the long term will help us to understand how we can purify the mind so that the truth gets reflected in the intellect. So rajasik tapas means putting a rudraksha mala to show off. That means you walk around, every time you walk around in a temple and just keep putting in a rudraksha mala and showing off that I am a very devoted person. I do a purna kumbha, garlands, chandan, wash the feet of gurus, worship others, all for getting a name in the society. Number one. And number two, to get future embodiments in higher lokas. So this type of tapas is only good for getting a better body in the future or for getting some benefit in this world. But there is no transformation of the mind. it adds to more and more sins. So this rajasik tapas we should avoid. We are hypocrites, believing something in our mind, expecting something in our mind, and doing something else outside. So we have to avoid this. Basically, it means avoid anything which is selfish, expecting results. Doing duty is sattvika tapas. Doing something for the benefit for myself is rajasika. What is tamasika tapas? Mudha grahena mano yat pidhaya kriyate tapaha parasyot sadhanartham va tat tamasa udaharatam. Deha pidaya. Deha pidaya means what? Self-torture. We have a foolish notion that by destroying another person, we will practice tapas. This is what is called as a completely mudha. Mudha means deluded mind. Torturing our own body. Very, very often we see people standing on one leg and torturing, and that is what is being avoided here. Here, Lord Krishna is telling us very clearly here, giving pain to your own body, torturing your body, excessive pain is not warranted by the Shastras. Some people, they do this to get higher powers so that they can cause pain to others. You stand on one leg in the winter, in the rain, from morning to night, in Maunam. We see such people in the Himalayas, and when we, or in some other parts of India, we see such people. But here, Lord Krishna clearly says, don't do that. Why do you need to stand on one leg? A person wanted to take revenge on an owner who kicked him out of the house. For such stupid reasons, people do such tapas. So we need to check our food habits, our austerity tapas, our yajna, the worship which we do, and lastly, the dhanam. Now we are going to see from verse number 20, 21, 22, 3 verses, we are going to see 3 types of dhanam, charity. So if you have any questions on any of these ahara, yajna, tapas, or dhanam, you can note it down in the chat box, and then we can discuss that at the end of the class. So this is what we have finished: ahara, tapas, yajna, 3 different aspects of our lifestyle. Because all our life, we will be either in one of these forms. We will be doing austerity, we will be worshipping, these are all the spiritual paths. Now, dhanam. Sattvika dhanam is selfless, rajasik is selfish, and tamasik is a foolish dhanam. It's a horrible dhanam. Now, these verses are all a guide to improve our quality of life. This is where Bhagavad Gita is a science of life. Datavyamiti yadhanam diyate nupakarine deshe kale cha patre cha tadhanam sattvikam smritam. Datavya means, now we are talking about sattvik dhanam, the best form of charity. What is the best form of charity? Datavya. Datavya means it ought to be given. There are floods and people are suffering. I contribute my little, whatever is the minimum I can contribute, $10, $5, $2, whatever it is, I contribute. That is called as sattvik dhanam. Many people come forward for such activities. Even during COVID, people come forward. So many people. So when you hear of such stories, you remember the person who is getting involved in these type of activities, Prakriti pushes him to do these activities so that he can purify his mind. It is a natural way of purifying our mind, and slowly we get on to the path of spirituality. You will find that most of the people who are doing charity, you will find that they are also devotional in nature. They believe there is something which God has given me, therefore I should share. We'll see those details now. So we have received so much from the society, we feel a natural obligation to share. We love giving. We love to see happiness in others. Many people, I've heard so many stories on this, in this front, especially in charity, you do come across where for some reason you have helped somebody 20 years ago, and that person remembers it even today and tells you thank you. The amount of joy you get out of that is you cannot describe by words. Desha, Kala, Patrecha. 3 points we should remember. Right place, right time, and right deserving person. Generally, they say give it in Punya Desha, like go to a particular temple and there you give dana. Holy places. Give it at a holy time. It should benefit the right person, the right cause. That is why discrimination is very, very important when you do charity. Just because others are giving money, you don't just give the money. You just say, okay, let me evaluate. When you do this, this gives purity to the mind. It enhances your discriminative ability, not only to give charity, but also to in other areas. Many people don't know who to give it to. Give it to hospitals, educational institutions, spiritual institutions, because they are doing it selflessly. I mean, this topic of dhanam is so huge, one can talk hours and hours on this. But here, Lord Krishna gives us very beautiful factors, points when we want to consider charity. Many people give money for protecting dharma, values in society. That's why they give it to schools, where children are taught the right values. And sattvika dana means you give without asking. Somebody is suffering, you can help him, just go and help him. That's it. Even if the person doesn't ask you, he may feel diffident to ask you. But even before that, you go out, step forward and help. That is what is called as sattvik dana. And that other person should not be embarrassed to accept whatever you can give. It could be clothes, it could be time, it could be anything. I mean, you see, in society, we come across even good words, even spending time of 15 minutes with a friend sometimes is greatly beneficial. So the wealth could be money, knowledge, capacity to listen, your own talents. You may know how to draw, you teach another person to draw. You know yoga, you teach another person yoga. And even a simple smile. Sometimes a smile can do a wonder. So that the person who is looking at you and also smiles and says, this is a lovely world. This is God's world. He doesn't hate the world, but he also smiles. Next is rajasika dana. Yatto prayat pukarartham palamuddishya va punaha iyate cha pariklishtam tadhanam rajasamsmrutam. Again, like we discussed, selfish. I give because I want something in return. That is rajasik dana. Reluctantly I give. I don't give out of my will. Just out of my joy of giving, I don't. That is sattvika. Give dana for getting a benefit in return. That is rajasik. Sattvik we saw was what I got from Bhagavan. I have got a lot. So I give out of love. I give out of joy in my heart. Whereas in rajasik, what will I get from this person? Today I will help him, but after 5 years, I want him to do something to me. I want to be helped back, if not in this birth, the next birth at least. I will get punyam because that will help me to get a better body. So there are pollutants in our thoughts. Our thoughts are mixed with expectations. You give and then you feel, sometimes you feel I've given too much. Oh my God, why did I give $20? I should have just given $10. That person really cornered me. These are the thoughts which come to my mind after giving the dana. I feel impoverished. I feel regret of giving. If you feel this, you are rajasik. 3 factors we have to consider: selfish giving, regretful giving, and giving with expectation of getting back something. Desha, kala, patra. Patra means the right person. Is not correct, it will then, if suppose these 3 are not correct, then it becomes tamasik. So in rajasik, what happens is a selfish motive is built in. Desha must be right, he may be right, kala will be right, patra is right. In both sattvik and rajasik, these 3 factors are correct. In sattvik, there is no selfishness, no expectations. In rajasik, it is always selfish. I love to give is sattvik. There is sadness after giving is rajasik. I foolishly give, it's a horrible mistake. There is a sense of wickedness which causes pain in others. I disrespect and I give it with wrong words, discourteous. That is tamasik. Desha kale cha yadhanam apatrebhyascha dhiyate asatkritapmavajñatam tattamasamudahritam. So sattva and rajas have got perfect desha kala patra. Tamas has got wrong desha, wrong kala, wrong patra. Rajas has got intention where you have selfishness. This is how dhanam is to be correctly understood. When one is with friends, he will give charity. Give when person does not want. These are all tamasik. Don't give to a hypocrite, impostor, or cruel person who takes livelihood of other persons. Don't give to gamblers and robbers. Giving with disrespect. You utter words which make other persons very low while giving dhanam. These are all the wrong way of giving dhanam. In sattvika dhanam, other person gives you an opportunity to serve him and you feel blessed to give. In tamasik dhanam, you insult the other person and give grudgingly. Many times people come to us for donations. Tamasik people will call the person and say, tell him to just call him 10 times. If he calls you in the morning, you tell him, call me today evening. If he calls you in the evening, you tell him, call me day after tomorrow. If he calls him day after tomorrow, you tell me, please call me after 1 month. You just keep on postponing. This is tamasik. And then after giving it also, he'll say, yeah, last year I helped you. What can can you do this for me now? So this is with expectations and also to the wrong person, a wrong place, a wrong time. So we should always check the 4 factors, yajna, dana, tapas, and ahara, to understand the shraddha of a person. And once we understand the shraddha through these 4 factors, then you can say whether a person is sattvik or rajasik. His faith is sattvik, rajasik, or tamasik. Sky is the limit for improvement of our mind. How to classify? What was Arjuna's question in the beginning, first verse? How to classify a person who does not know the Shastra, who has not gone through the understanding, but who follows the elders of the wise people? Lord's answer to that question is, you look at his belief system in ahara, yajna, dana, and tapas. So the question is clear, the answer is clear. We have finished the question of Arjuna and the answer of Lord Krishna. Taittiriya Upanishad also talks about how to give charity. Shraddhaya deyam, ashraddhaya deyam, shriya deyam, kriya deyam, bhiya deyam, sambhida deyam. What does it mean? Gifts should be given with faith. They should never be given without faith. Should be given in plenty and modesty and with sympathy. That is how we should give. Very beautiful verses, and Taittiriya comes, and in many other Upanishads also it comes. So giving with faith is a good thing. It will be useful. Do it with the best of the intentions. Actions done may not be perfect, but at least you may have done to the best of your ability. Now, Arjuna's question is, unknowingly, suppose I make an error in all these activities, either in yajna, either in danam, either in any of these yajna, dana, tapa. Because many times when we do rituals, we'll find that we can't do a ritual perfectly well as per what the Shastra says. Punyam fructification takes time, but how to guarantee perfection in action of yajna, dana, tapas? This is Arjuna's doubt now. Now, how do I correct that error? This is what Lord Krishna wants to teach between verses 23 to 27. Om tat siddhiti nirdeshaha brahmanastrividha smrutaha brahmanastena vedascha yajnascha vihita pura. Now, whenever we do activities and we feel we have not done the best as per the Shastra, we utter the name Om Tat Sat. Now, Om Tat Sat is the name of Brahman, the highest reality, the formless reality. Now, by uttering these 3 words, Om Tat Sat, the 3-worded Lord, 3 syllables, they represent the same Lord. Om is a 3-syllable one name. And Lord Krishna recalls, he also studied under Maharishi Sandipani. Lord Krishna also studied spiritual knowledge. And he said that in the beginning of creation, the Lord uttered Om Tat Sat. To invoke the power of creation, the Lord uttered that. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat. So they say that the Veda itself was created by utterance of Om Tat Sat, because these three words are the names of the Lord. That means whenever you do anything good in the world, if you want to start a new activity, you can utter this word Om Tat Sat. Whenever you start, either in the start or in the beginning, in the start or in the end. In the beginning, you chant because you are seeking Lord's grace. In whatever activity you're doing, whether you're putting your child to school, kindergarten, so that he can become a doctor after 25 years, you start. Or you're doing a simple puja at home. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat. You start, you end. Generally, they say you chant Om Tat Sat in the end, so that whatever mistakes you have committed, you get pardon from the Lord. There is a tremendous power in this Om Tat Sat. These three words has got tremendous power. See, we are not asking, Lord is not asking us to chant something as A, B, C, D. No, He's telling you Om Tat Sat. All japa, puja, they end with Om Tat Sat. Actions can't bring fulfillment by itself because they are jadam by nature. By bringing in, remembering the Lord, it brings fulfillment in that action. You pray to the Lord and do an action, you will see that there is a difference in the results. When they come, you accept it as prasada. So knowingly, if you commit mistake, you can correct it by this, but unknown mistakes can't be corrected. Bhagavan will correct it for you. These words together indicate the power, the glory of the infinite Lord. Ahara is not included in the list because it manifests as good health here and now. Whereas Om Tat Sat is uttered for Yajna Dana Tapas. Many factors are responsible for actions like the mind, the speech, the body, rituals, worship, the Homakunda, Naivedyam, Dakshina. All these factors I have not full control. I cannot bring perfection in them. But by uttering this Om Tat Sat, I can correct whatever imperfections there may have been in my actions. Bhagavatam also talks in the same. I offer my obeisances to by remembering the Lord, by remembering and His name. What is the glory of this Om Tat Sat? There are 3-4 verses which now we will study. Each one will tell us what is the glory of these names. Tasmad omityudahritya yajnadana tapakriyaha pravartante vidhanoktaha satatam brahmavadinam. So now Lord Krishna talks about Om. For those of you who have studied Mandukya Upanishad, you will understand the significance of Om, which stands for the waking state, dream state, and the sleep state. And who controls these 3 states is the Turiya Atma, the Lord. So Om has got a very, very powerful meaning. If you want to go to study this, you have to study the Mandukya Upanishad, or there are many other Upanishads like Prashna Upanishad. They also talk about Om. Om, if you Google, you can find thousands of pages on this. But in short, it means it is a sound form of the Lord. Om means sound. The sound Om represents the Lord. When you go to a temple, the form there represents Lord. But the Om is also a sound which represents the Lord. Om iti Brahma. Om iti idam sarvam. This is the second verse. This is the Taittiriya Upanishad, first chapter. The sacred sound Om is Brahman. All this is symbol is Om. Mandukya is like I said, this is the first verse itself talks about Om. It represents the past, present, and the future, and which is beyond time. You see, the most important aspect of Om is the sound Om talks about the past, present, and future, the time element. And then the silence which comes after the sound Om represents timelessness. The timelessness is the formless God. That also is Om. In the Kathopanishad, the Lord Yama teaches Nachiketa, and he says, all the penances which we do, they're all directly talking or referring to this Om. Anybody who does any penance, he chants Om and then he does the penance. A brahmachari, a grihastha, a vanaprastha, all of them, the goal is to reach the ultimate reality. Om is Brahman. Brahman means the name of the Lord, which is formless in nature. So we start the Yajna Dana Tapa with Om. All activities are begun with Om. Om brings the completion, auspiciousness, and it has the power to make any activity divine. Mantra is mystical, sacred, powerhouse. Use the word Om well in Yajna Dana Tapa in our life, and we will see the benefit of it. The next word which Lord Krishna explains is Tat. We have got three words: Om, Tat, Sat. Tat idi idityasanvidha sandhaya phalam yajna tapakriyaha dana kriyasha vividaha kriyante moksha kankshibhi. Now, what is Tat? Now, Tat is also the name of the Lord. And this Tat is generally used where we say we perform an action without any expectation of the results. And Om Tat Sat is generally used for sattvik actions, not for rajasik and tamasik actions. You cannot do tamasik action and then utter Om Tat Sat and say that Lord will pardon me of all the wrong actions. That is not correct. This is generally Om Tat Sat is used when you have knowingly you have done a particular Yajna Dana Tapa. Unknowingly, you may have committed some mistakes. To get Lord's pardon from those mistakes, we utter Om Tat Sat. This is a very popular asked question whenever I teach this chapter. Always they ask this question: can I do all the wrong actions and then utter Om Tat Sat? No, it's not correct. It's not possible. It is only meant for sattvik actions. And then Yajna Dana Tapa, always remember, it is for the purification of the mind. Antakarna Shuddhyartham. They give punyam, they give purity of mind, even if we don't seek any result. If you seek worldly result, you will get the worldly result, but not purity of mind. Suppose I go to a temple and ask the Lord, oh Lord, my exam is coming, I need a promotion, or on the first, I want an increment in my office. It's possible, you will get it. So here you are asking the Lord for a specific result in this life. I want this. The Lord will give you that. Suppose you say, no, I don't want any worldly thing. I want to purify my mind. You can go to the same temple, ask Lord Ganesha, please purify my mind, because with a purified mind, I can achieve anything. This is an intelligent way of asking the Lord. The sadhaks, the mumukshus, they want purity of mind. They don't want worldly pleasures. They have a bigger goal of moksha, dropping the identification with their body and mind. How to get that? There is a way, and the Lord will give you that way. Adhyasa, that's what we call as adhyasa nivritti. Adhyasa means today I am totally identified with this body and I am not able to drop this identification. Whole day, I'm suffering because of that. I'm suffering because I'm identified with my mind. And these two things, body and mind, they keep me roasted throughout my life. 40 years have gone. Phalam anabhisandhaya. I don't expect any other phalam except the purity of mind. Now we talk about Sat. Om Tat Sat. We have finished Om, we have finished Tat. Now we are doing Sat. See, all these three are only names of the same Lord. Tat. Tattvamasi. Tat there means the Lord, the pure Lord. I pray to the pure Lord. In the end, when I say Om Tat Sat, I remember that Lord. The remembrance itself gives me the fruit of my actions. Many a times you go to a temple, you may not have asked the Lord all the things which you wanted, but at the end of the temple visit, you will find a lot of peace comes to your mind because you have communicated with the Lord. Sadbhava sadhubhave cha sadityet prayuchyate prashaste karmani tatha satshabda partha yujyate. The word Sat is used because it means the reality, existence principle of the Lord. Everything in the world is there. Why? How do I feel? How do I know that the world is there? Because of the presence of the Lord here and now. I can't see that existence, but He is there. Sat is used in the sense of auspiciousness in the activity. Chandogya Upanishad also talks about the name of the Lord as Sat. Sadeva Soumya Damagra Asi. Ekameva Advitiyam. That Lord was one non-dual principle. He was there without any second creation. All alone, the Lord was there as a Sat, that pure existence. And that pure existence, even now it is there. The Lord exists in the form of Sat. It is only my mind which is clouded, which I'm not able to realize that Sat nature. So by uttering the Lord's name as Sat, I get the benefit of remembrance and also taking the result as a prasad. Taittiriya Upanishad starts with this teaching. The second chapter is called Brahmananda Valli. Om Brahma Vidapnoti Param. This is the way the teaching starts. Tadesham Yuktam Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Yoman Soshnute Sarvan Kaman Saha Brahmana Vipaschiteti. Very, very beautiful verse. Om. And many of you must have heard Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. These three words, all they mean the same as Sat, Om Tat Sat. Sat means existence. Om Tat Sat has the power of the Lord to bring the fruit of actions of Yajna Dana Tapa to come into existence, the fruits. We utter the word Om Tat Sat. Sat Karma is noble actions. Sat Purusha means noble persons. Sat means good, perfect, auspicious. Sat means a sense of reality, goodness, auspiciousness. So by uttering Om Tat Sat, I get auspiciousness into the activity which I'm performing. See, all this only tells us how to purify my actions. When I purify my actions in the world, I purify my mind. When I purify my mind, I become ready to receive the Lord's blessing in the form of knowledge about the Lord and about myself. The knowledge is one. It talks about one principle, which is Om Tat Sat. That Om Tat Sat is the reality. Between me, the individual, and the Lord, there is one reality, which is the pure awareness. When I drop my ego, I will come to know this reality. This is the technique. Purity of mind means your ego, which you had, that I am very big, everything I can control. If that ego before the study of the spiritual study, and now if you see, that ego must have really dropped. Each one of you have finished 17 chapters of the Gita. You would find tremendous benefit of the study of the Gita because you are more peaceful, more happy today because your mind has quieted. When the mind quietens, the Shanti Swarupa of Atma reflects in the mind, in a quiet mind. The 27th verse, Yajne tapasi dane cha sthiti saditi chuchyate karma chaiva tadartiyam sadityebha vidhiyate. So, be steady in Yajna Dana Tapa. Firm abidance is called as Sat. All actions are meant for the Lord's blessings. I offer puja, I offer flowers, I offer prasada, all to gain the knowledge of Sat Karma. Sat means it's a joy of offering oblations to the Lord in the fire. Sat is glorious. This verse talks about utterance of Sat makes an action glorious, auspicious. Actions, when they are taken up with Shraddha, are sattvika, yajna, dana, tapa. And they give total fulfillment in our actions. Why does it give total fulfillment? Because I have brought in the element of God in them. I invoked the presence of God and say, oh Lord, I am doing everything, but all this is only to make my mind pure. Please make my mind pure and let me see the reality which is you. Sattvik ahara, aham vaishvanaro bhutva, we have remembered, I do that with that faith that the Lord is there in this body. Without Shraddha, chanting Om Tat Sat is cheating. and expecting the world of objects is foolish. That is what is clarified in these verses. The last verse of this chapter. Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam chayat asadityuchate partha nachap tatpetya no iha. What happens if we don't do yajna, dana, tapa without shraddha? Suppose you don't have shraddha, you don't have faith. Ashraddhaya hutam dattam. That means doing yajna, dana, tapa without faith. And you do it for only show off. Karma phalam will be zero. That's what the Lord says here. If you have not studied Shastra, but follow the elders, wise in the society, do your yajna, dana, tapa, and you chant Om Tat Sat with full faith, then life will be fulfilled. But if there is no faith, if there is no Shraddha, then that action will produce no result. It will be useless. So this is how the Lord ends this chapter. You gain sattvika shraddha by study of Shastras, by following elders like your parents, like elder people in the society, and you follow with faith all the 4 factors which we have discussed: ahara, yajna, dana, tapa. And your life will be fulfilled. And without shraddha, without faith, if you do, I don't have any faith in a higher power, then that will not give you any result in the world. You are just wasting your time. Simply chanting Om Tat Sat is worthless. But without heart, no feeling, only ego booster, then action is worthless. No punyam is there. Many people, they do just actions. They go to temple just because it's just like their friends are going, or they just join, you know. Om Tat Sat here or hereafter has meaning only when you have Shraddha in its efficacy. Reverence, love, respect for noble action is a must for them to give result. So in this way, Lord Krishna concludes the 17th chapter with a great philosophical content, Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. In all this yajna, dana, tapa, I follow sattvik shraddha. Ultimate aim is to unite with the Lord. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita So Upanishadso Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Shraddhatre Vibhaga Yogo Nama Saptadashothyayah. So the concluding verse, as usual, this chapter is called as Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. And what we have studied is the threefold faith. Now, why we study this? It is a Yoga Shastra. This can be used in life, in our day-to-day activities. And it is Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya means it gives a result of achieving the Lord himself by following these actions. So with this, we conclude the 17th chapter. And I will just give you an introduction of the 18th chapter. Next week, we will start this chapter in detail. The 18th chapter, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, liberation through renunciation. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord talked about withdrawing from all the bad actions and achieving moksha. That means you withdraw your activities, wrongful activities, in order to achieve freedom from sorrow. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga is the title of the 18th chapter. This chapter is going to be a summary. It's a summary of the entire Gita. Whatever we have studied so far, it's all comes here and highlighted. 78 verses are there in the 18th chapter. There are 4 main topics. The first topic is Sadhana Trividam. What are the different sadhanas which can be performed? Disciplines to be followed. Then Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. These are the 2 main parts of the Bhagavad Gita. Karma Yoga is to prepare the mind for Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is a direct means of moksha. And the last topic is conclusion, Upasamhara. Now, in the disciplines, there are 7 topics. And these 7 topics are discussed in 3 ways: sattvik, rajasik, tamasik. Like how we discussed in the 17th chapter. Here we are going to analyze 7 different factors: sattvik sannyasa, rajasik sannyasa, and tamasik. Similarly, jnanam, karma, karta, sukham, dhriti, and buddhi. See, all this analysis, again, it means I'm purifying my mind. The Lord is teaching us all this so that my actions become pure, my attitude becomes pure, and I get pure happiness. The goal is only one. I want to be happy in life. I want to have a peaceful life. Today I have a turbulent life in my mind full of agitations. How do I control this mind and bring it to sattvik mind? That is the objective of by which you should study the 18th chapter. It is not some random chapter, but each of this, there is a specific methodology followed here. And these are the details of the 7 types of the sattvik, rajasik, and tamasik. The details are given in a short form. Sannyasa means renunciation. Renunciation can be physical or it can be mental. Physical renunciation means I leave everything and then work towards jnanam. Second is, being a grahastha, I can renounce by renouncing in the mind. I get a capacity in the mind to renounce my actions. Now here, sattvik renunciation means renunciation of the results of nitya karmas. Rajasik means I renounce because I have fear that by doing something, it will cause bodily harm. And the last type of renouncing means giving off. I don't do proper action because I have ignorance of their value. Similarly, so this is one sadhana. The second sadhana is knowledge, jnanam. What is sattvik jnanam? Sattvik jnanam is by which I see the undivided self in all. Everybody, I don't see a difference in anybody. That knowledge of Atma, the pure consciousness which is shining in my mind, it is the same consciousness shining in my son's mind or my mother's mind or my father's mind, or all human beings, their mind is shining because of the pure consciousness. If I have that knowledge, it is called as sattvik knowledge. Suppose I have a knowledge of division, duality. You are separate, I am separate. Your body is separate, my body is separate. You are a totally different person, I am a different person. That is called as rajasik jnana. And the knowledge by which when somebody takes this body itself as the self. See, the best one is sattvik jnana, where your focus is on the consciousness. The second best is rajasik, where you say, okay, fine, others are separate. There is a selfishness comes in. The last one is when you say that this body is eternal. Therefore, I will just enjoy. That is the tamasik. Karma. Karma means action. What is sattvik action? Duty performed without attachment to results. This is what is karma yoga. What is rajasic action? Action done with an ego. I am the doer. Everything is, I am responsible for everything. There is no God, there is nothing. It's only me. Action done with ego for the sake of result. That is called as rajasic action. And the third one is tamasik action, which is without considering the results, I just keep on acting. There may be something wrong which you may come to you. No, it's okay. Indiscriminately, I do actions. That is tamasik actions. Karta. Karta means the doer, the intellect. Karta is always in the intellect. Vijnanamaya kosha. So if you are enthusiastic while doing an action and you are calm in either success or failure of the results, then you are a sattvik karta. You're not bothered. You're just saying, okay, I want purity of mind. That's all. The results in the world may be good or bad, okay, but I have done action. I am a sattvik doer. You know what is rajasic by now. One who is attached and greedy, and he is elated or depressed. That is rajasic. And tamasik is one who is uncultured, arrogant, harmful, dull, procrastination, kal dekhenge, I'll do tomorrow. That is called as tamasik doer. Buddhi. Buddhi means intellect, that which knows the right and wrong clearly. It knows what is bondage, it knows what is liberation. Bondage means I am attached to my mind. Liberation means I'm free from identification with the mind as the self. So that buddhi, which has got clarity, is sattvik. And that which improperly knows it, it doesn't know it whether it is right or wrong. It thinks the right. Sometimes you are right, sometimes you're wrong. That is rajasic. That means it's not clear. And third type is you think that the right is wrong and the wrong is right. Completely opposite. Take dharma as adharma, adharma as dharma, perversely. That is tamasik buddhi. Dhriti. Dhriti means willpower. So if you are able to sustain your willpower, that means your power of organs of action and knowledge, and keep on putting effort, that is called as sattvik willpower. The same willpower, if it is used to crave for the benefits, I want to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million. You're craving for that $1 million. That willpower is rajasic. And the third type is tamasik. Willpower by which you don't give up sleep, fear, grief. Keep on indulging. That is tamasik willpower. The last one is sukham. That happiness which is like poison in the beginning and like nectar in the end. That means if I do the action today, it is very difficult. It is not easy for me to do that action, and it is I don't find any benefit today. But after 5 years, suppose for example, study of Gita, so much of effort is required. Every Saturday you have to come attend for 1.5 hours. But it is like it's so difficult in the beginning. In the end, it gives you the benefit. That is called as sattvik sukha. And opposite of that, that which is like nectar in the beginning and poison in the end is rajasik sukha. It comes because of contact of sense organs with the sense objects. And the last type of happiness is delusion. Completely deluded. Right in the beginning, in the end, you're always deluded. You do wrong actions expecting happiness. You indulge in the wrong activities expecting happiness. You perform actions in negligence. That is what is called as tamasik sukha. So this was an introduction to the 18th chapter. We will start with this slide next week. There are 78 verses in this chapter. It may take about 2 to 3 months, 3 months minimum. Even if it takes 7 chapters, it is about 10, 12 weeks. So be prepared for a mega session of the Bhagavad Gita. In the next 2 months, 3 months, we will complete the Bhagavad Gita. With that, we would have finished the entire Bhagavad Gita, 701 verses. And whatever we have been able to pick up from these 18 chapters, we should be truly blessed because this is a knowledge of the Lord. In whatever form we have got, we should be thanking the Lord for the blessings. Some of you might have had tremendous benefits, more clarity in life. Some of you might have got small benefits of purifying your mind. Doesn't matter. We keep going. We have understood the sattvik nature of the human mind. Improve our mind and we will achieve our goal of freedom from sorrow. Atyantika sukha prapti, that means absolute happiness is my goal. Okay, with that, I will end today's session and then we'll continue next week. And the entire Bhagavad Gita, in some form, you will find that all the things which you have learned will come again and again. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Upasana Yoga. This is a summary chapter. And in the summary itself, he will introduce the 7 factors which I have told you, and this will help me to purify my mind. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Anybody has a question? Yeah, Chandra?
it's a very long session, but most of it is repeated to enhance our knowledge, isn't it?
Yes.
In many cases, you find that little bit of discrimination is required.
Yes.
And we have to know what is required.
Yes. You see, basically, we need to just keep improving our quality of our mind, so that we are able to understand the difference between what is real and what is unreal.
And that's the basic.
That is the basic reason why we keep studying.
All right.
We keep repeating the same study again and again. Let the study, repetition of the study. For example, people do Bhagavad Gita 20 times. I've seen people doing 20 times. Every year they do one time. They go through the Bhagavad Gita once. They go through the higher text. What we do is, when we study the Bhagavad Gita again and again, some points which were not clear before, it becomes clear to me now. So it is a question of constantly listening to the Gita. You see, Gita is not something which you just study once and keep it.
True. It will refresh off and on, huh?
Yes. It remains fresh. Every time you study the Gita, what happens is you feel that as if some new things have come to you, you know?
Yeah.
So again, we have done the Gita this time, one more round. You have attended at least, I think, 5-6 times of mine, you know?
Yeah, right. But so, it is very good because it refreshes my mind often and often to keep in touch.
Yes, that's correct. You see, the one goal we should always keep is, yes, I am purifying my mind. You see, that is what should be the goal. Yes, I can understand more better now, more better. I can understand the higher texts. Right. See, many a times you will find that when you study the Bhagavad Gita and then you study Panchadasi, you will find a huge difference between the two levels of study.
True.
Very big difference. There in Panchadasi, and you study at a very high level.
Right.
So at that time you feel, oh, now Bhagavad Gita is very simple.
Yes.
See, so the constant study of the Bhagavad Gita helps you to purify the mind. Purification of mind means that my agitations are coming down, and the number of times I am identifying with my mind throughout the day, it drops. See, that is what is called as purity.
But actually, it's a summary of all Upanishads also.
Yes. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but it is a summary of all the Upanishads, because Upanishads, they are teaching at the highest level. Whereas Bhagavad Gita goes to our level and tells us that don't worry if you don't understand Brahman, which is described in Taittiriya Upanishad as Satyam, Jnanam, Manantam and all that. The Bhagavad Gita tells us, don't worry, you utter Om Tat Sat and purify your mind.
Yes,
and then you see, slowly you will be able to appreciate God in your own heart.
Yeah.
See, the biggest benefit or the ultimate benefit of the Gita study or any text is when you are able to feel that happiness in your life. When you are able to feel that Lord in your own heart, there is a presence of some power in this body. And I have acknowledged, I have known that power in this body.
Yeah.
Then your spiritual science, spiritual study has benefited you and you are happy. This is where the final goal is. You see, you must always think, am I happy today? Am I fulfilled today? Have I discovered that happiness in myself? Am I still going out into the world for happiness, or am I happy in myself? That question you should ask yourself. And if you tell yourself, I have found that happiness in me, Atmanyeva Atmanatushtaha, Sthita Prajnascha Dochyate, 55th verse of the 2nd chapter. I have found that happiness in myself, my own Atma. Rajiv Ashar is asking, what is ego? What is I and what is ego? Can anybody answer him? I will also supplement, but anybody would like to answer this question? But would you like to answer this question?
Hari Om, Shekharji.
Yeah, what is ego? Can you explain to Rajiv what is ego and what is I? Just explain in your own words.
I think I am at loss of words. Probably I will wait for some more time, not at this moment.
Okay. Anybody else would like to answer this question? Otherwise, I will answer.
Ego is something that you are doing for your selfish needs, and you are not at all in par with the current type of language that you should use. See? And at the same time, you have ulterior motives.
Okay.
And same time, you find that you want to excel everybody at the expense of some people, and you find that you are losing out if somebody overtakes you.
Okay.
And ego is something is not a good quality in you. You need to find some compassion with other people as well. So that is why we find that they are more very disturbed people and try to irritate a lot of people at the same time.
Okay.
That's my is my explanation for egoistic people.
Okay, very good. Okay, now ego has got two meanings. One is shastric meaning. That means what the scriptures talk about ego. And the second meaning is laukika. Laukika means what is usually discussed as ego in the local parlance.
Yeah.
See, in the local parlance, if you say ego, that means that you are, it's taken with a negative connotation. He has got a big ego, you know. It is generally, it's a local in a local parlance. It is taken, ego means you are, it is taken as a something not good. That means if you are an egoistic person, means you are not doing well in the society. You've got too much I-ness in your own self. That's what it means in the laukika. Laukika means in the normal vyavaharika world. Suppose you are working in the office. He's got a big ego, you know. That is how people will say. Everything he wants to do himself, you know. Now, that is what is the worldly meaning of ego. Now, what is the meaning of ego when you come to the Shastra? This is very, very important.
Yeah, that's what you see.
Okay, now, yes. Now, the ego, when you say, when it refers to how does the Shastra describe ego? And how does the Shastra describe I? When it comes to the Laukika, that means the usual parlance, I and ego is the same. It's a very good question, Rajiv. I'm just explain to you, so try to see if you can follow this. Then in the normal worldly life, we say the I and the ego are together. Okay? I means ego. Ego means myself. Whatever I think myself, that is the I. Ego and I are one and the same in the normal worldly life. That is not what we are discussing in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is the Shastric meaning. Shastric meaning of ego and I, they are completely different. Now, what is the meaning of ego? Okay, ego means, now this is where you must refer to the Om chart of which I used to, Gurudev's Om chart, which I have discussed in the Bhagavad Gita before. Ego I is whenever there is a I feeling in the body and it is referring to the sense organs or the mind, that is called as ego I. Again, I repeat, whenever we are referring, there is, you see, in this body, when we get up in the morning, the moment I get up, I have a I notion in the body. In the sleep state, there is no I notion. So in the morning, when I get up, in the waking state, there is an I notion. That I notion is the reflection of the pure I. I don't know whether you're able to get this, but let me explain to you. You see, whatever you can pick up, you pick up. So whenever this I, according to the Bhagavad Gita, has got two types. One is when it is identified with the body, it is called as ego. Body means body, mind. For example, I say my body is, I am not well today. I'm sick today. I want to lie down. This means you are referring to your body, and that is what is ego. Suppose you don't refer to your body at all, or another form of it is I'm sad today, I'm not happy. These are all with reference to the mind. This is also called as identification with the body or mind is the ego. I am seeing, I am listening. These are all ego. This is what normally we say is I. But Bhagavad Gita or the Shastras, they tell me another I, which is not this ego, which is always there, whether it is in sleep or whether it is in dream or whether it is in waking. That pure I is the Sakshi I.
Oh, yeah.
That is Sakshi. It is not the ego. It is the pure I without any identification with the body, mind complex. For example, in sleep, are you in touch with your body? Do you know your body? No. Do you know your mind? No. So at that time, I am the pure self. That is what is pure I. In the waking state, the moment the body I see, I am the ego I. The waker, dreamer, sleeper, they are all three forms of ego. I think that should be enough for you because you are new to the script. I don't know you're new to scripture because you're coming first time to the session. Rajiv, is it making some sense? Okay. Pure I means Sakshi awareness. Yes, perfect. Yes. Okay, good. I think you got the answer. Anybody else has a question? Shama, you're not feeling well today?
I am Shikhaji, namaste. I'm in my delayed jet lag. So I was in a continuous go before and this thing. So I have a lot of catching up to do.
Okay.
But I'm only happy. I'm in India now, right now in Delhi.
Yeah. But are you okay? Are you fine? Because I know you're traveling to India. So are you okay?
Yeah. So I'm very much there, but not there.
Okay. All right. I think you need some rest. And then I think we'll
and I'll catch up. Yeah,
catch
definitely.
Up, yeah. But you're at home. You're not in a hotel or something, right?
No. I'm in my mother's house.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll catch up next week then.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else has any other question?
Shekharji, I just want to know whether this I you was mentoring is for transactional purpose, isn't it?
Whether this I
for using for the worldly reasons used as for transactional purpose. Otherwise, other people won't understand the pure witnesses we are talking about.
Yes. You see, normally people will only understand the transactional I, which is the ego.
Ego.
Yes.
Right.
Only when you study the Shastras, when you study and Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads, then you will discover a new I. That
we don't give them another name as I. We think it is Atman.
Yeah, that I is called as Sakshi.
Okay.
The Shastrik I is called as Sakshi. The normal ego I is called as I.
Okay.
You see, Swami Chinmayananda calls it the big I and the small I.
Lower self and
the lower self and the higher self.
Okay.
So at this stage, we should just remember that there is a higher self, which is called as Sakshi, which is called as the truth, which is what I am trying to discover in this body. That is my goal. Ego I is the I, which is a reflection of that sentient principle whenever the body is transacting in the world.
Yes, a transaction. Otherwise, nobody understands.
Yes. So that I, whenever it is transacting in the world, is only a reflection. It is not the original consciousness. It is not the original awareness.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so this is the difference between real and unreal. The moment I see my body in the waking state, I must note that this is an unreal world, unreal Chandra, listening to unreal talk of Bhagavad Gita. But this is a manifestation. It manifests the real Chandra, which is the pure consciousness and which is eternal. Why do I study the Bhagavad Gita? Because it gives me the knowledge of the pure I.
Right.
So ego means identifying with the body, mind, and intellect. BMI. Perfect understanding, Rajiv. Well done. Okay.
Mr. Shekhar.
Yes, Jacqueline.
Something just came into my mind at this moment. People are asking about I, right? The big I and the small I. And what is that am that is coming? Of course, in English, I am. How does the I am coming in to supplement all these things? The
Okay.
AM.
Okay. This is another deeper question. See, whenever I say I am Jacqueline, okay? Suppose you say I am Jacqueline.
क्या हो गया? आपकी चप्पल का problem.
And when you
चप्पल का problem हो गया.
When you say
चप्पल का problem.
When you say I am Jacqueline, then what happens is that I am is the Sat aspect, the existence aspect, the real I. That is the consciousness. I am. I am is the real Jacqueline. I am Jacqueline. Jacqueline, the name is for the body. Jacqueline is the name of the mind. It is a name and form of the body or the mind. I am, you are asking what is am? Am stands for existence. I stands for the consciousness. Sat and Chit, they together, I am, when you say, it is Satchit Ananda Jacqueline. It is 3 in 1. In English, we say I am. In Sanskrit, we say aham. One word. Aham Brahma Asmi. I am Brahman. Brahman means the highest reality. Now, so your question is, I am means the pure consciousness without the name and form. For example, you close your eyes right now and do not identify with the body. Do not identify with the mind. Any thought which comes in, don't identify. That is I am. Suppose a thought comes, I am hungry, I have to eat now 8 o'clock. That is ego. That means you are attached to the thought. Suppose you open your eyes and then you see your body. That is ego. So whenever, whatever is there in this body, which is called as awareness, which is called as consciousness, is I am. That I am does not require a medium. Medium means without knowing the body, without identifying with the mind, I can remain as I am. Whereas to say Jacqueline, I need a mouth. To Jacqueline brings a name and a form. The moment that pure I identifies with the body or mind or a form, then it becomes an ego. It is a very, very subtle thing. Right now, I can explain to you what is your real nature. Without any, it doesn't require any big words, no Bhagavad Gita teaching, no Upanishadic teaching. Completely right now to experience your real I, you don't need anything else except to be yourself. That is the final teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. I am means pure I, nothing. You're not identifying with anything in the world, not any object in the world. That objectless awareness is the pure I, which is I am. And it can be I am Bhama. For example, I am stands for the pure awareness. This is eternal. I am is pure consciousness. It doesn't require anything. To know I am, you don't need anything. You don't require a body, you don't require your mind, nothing you require. To remain yourself as the pure I, you can remain. That is the meaning of I am. And the moment you say Jacqueline, then you are bringing a name and a form, or Uma, or Bhat, or Soranam, anybody. Then the body comes in, then the mind comes in, then the family comes in. This is mine. With the help of body, then you start identifying all the things which you own. My house, my car, my children, all that comes the moment you identify with the body. Without identification with the body, whatever you are, that is called as I am. Is it clear, Jacqueline?
Yes, Mr. Shekhar. That means I cannot segregate I plus am. And I have to always say I am is equal to big I.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So M has to go together.
With I.
Yeah, because just now it just prompted me. I is a big I is the big is a big I.
Yes.
Small I is ego.
Yes.
So I was just thinking the M, so the M itself is all, it has to be come together, then it's equal to existence, and it's equal to consciousness, and it's equal to awareness.
Yes, you're right. I am is equal to existence is equal to consciousness, because existence and consciousness are always together.
Okay, so it will never be, I mean, if I want to say I'm the consciousness, I have to say I am. I cannot break it down to I am the bigger I. So
yeah, you cannot separate existence and consciousness. If you exist means you are aware.
All right.
Aware means you're conscious.
Okay.
Suppose you say I am conscious means you're conscious means you're also including proof of your existence.
Right. Okay. Appreciate and bless.
Thank you.
Shekhar.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, but yeah.
So I think if I understood Jacqueline's question, basically she was somewhere veering around saying that without the material aspect or the asat, the sat, which is totally invisible or incomprehensible, so that means that no, it is dependent on asat. So without the asat, it cannot exist. But whereas the Shastra, what is teaching is, no, don't look at it that way. It is the asat exists because of the sat itself, right?
Agreed. Perfect. You see, asat, in order to say asat exists, the sat should be there. That means without the substratum of I, the pure consciousness and the pure existence, asat cannot even come into existence.
So the am is actually not existent, and the I is the only existence, right?
Yeah, you can take it like that also. You can say that I is the only existence. That's it. You can take it like that. But you see, in English it becomes I am, but in Sanskrit it becomes easier, aham.
Yeah.
Good. You're on the right track. Your understanding is correct. Okay, good. Anybody else? What is Brahman? Brahman means it is the name of this consciousness without the medium. For example, this waking state, dream state, sleep state. Suppose you drop the three states and then I ask you, who are you? That is called as Brahman. You are there in the waking state, you are there in the dream state, you are there in the sleep state. In the sleep state, you are not identified with the waking state at all. There is no waking state in the sleep state. Similarly, the dream is not there in the sleep state. So you are almost nothing in the sleep state. State, yeah, is a state of the mind. It is not state of your existence. Your state of existence is you're always existent. That is what is called as Atma. That is what is called as Brahman. Brahman means the totality, the world. There is a consciousness principle which is in the body-mind complex, and it is also in the world. So don't restrict consciousness only to the body. If you are talking about that pure awareness, consciousness with reference to the body, it is called as Atma. The same consciousness, for example, if you take a pot in a room, there is space in the pot and there is space outside the pot. The space in the pot, when it is identified with the pot, is called as the pot space. The consciousness in this body, when it is enclosed in the body, is called as Atma, like the pot space. The same consciousness exists in the entire universe. Whatever you can think in the universe, the cosmos, the planets, the Jupiter, all that, the same consciousness is there. That is what the scriptures are telling. For Brahman or Atma, the source of knowledge is only the scriptures. You cannot see Brahman or Atma with the eyes. There is no other source. So what happens when the body is not there? Suppose the pot is broken, or the pot, you are able to remove it, and then what happens to the space in the pot? The space in the pot merges with the space outside, and it becomes one space. The consciousness in this body, when the body is not there, what happens is this consciousness merges with Ishvara, which is the totality. That one consciousness is termed as Brahman, which is the life principle for the entire cosmos. And what the scriptures are teaching us is this consciousness in this body, mind, Atma, is the same consciousness in the entire universe. That is the ultimate teaching. Okay, so Rajiv, I think this should be enough for the time being for you. Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. We'll start and with the 18th chapter, and we'll see how long it takes. Thank you and good night.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.